Well, good morning, family, friends, and patriots. This is Farm Update number 5, and I just wanted to catch up on some of the things we were doing and where we stand so far. As you know, we set up this farm in Colorado Springs initially so that we could establish a local food system. Now, 40 acres is not going to be enough to set up a food system for all of Colorado Springs. So we initially started with the church we're attending, and we wrote a document here which is a basic business plan, and we're calling it the Road Food Church for the Road Church. So we're initially starting off with the church itself here that we attend and providing food and a food system for that organization, and then as we get that successful, then we will grow to the community and hopefully beyond and set a somewhat of a template for other communities to follow. In that vein, I attend a thing called Worshiper Warriors. It's a men's group on Tuesday mornings where we discuss obviously biblical topics and how it applies to your life and how you can incorporate it into your family. It's a very successful group. There's 250 men there representing 21 different churches. So on Tuesday, I went forward and said, I have established a company called Go Farm U LLC, and Go Farm U LLC now is raising beef. So we're making beef as the first major protein source available to the church. And so I wrote a document that talked all about what our cattle are, how we raise the cattle. You know, a lot of people don't know the difference between a grass-fed, grass-finished beef versus one that's gone to a confined animal feeding operation, a CAFO, and grain-fed, and what's going into those grains, which most people know by now, due to the media, that the grains in America have been tainted by either being genetically modified or genetically engineered and being sprayed with numerous chemicals like glyphosate and pesticides that they said didn't harm the body. However, testing has shown that not only is it in your body, it also goes through the blood-brain barrier and has been found in the cord blood of pregnant women. So this is not a safe way to provide corn and other soy and other types of foods, how to raise them with all these chemicals, because indeed you ingest them and then they get into your system and they're causing damage, and hence we're seeing a very high rise in infertility in people and in the animals that this grain is fed to. So it's not a good idea. So hence we are promoting grass-fed, grass-finished, and keeping everything natural and as close to organic as possible. So we are supporting sustainable, regenerative, organic farming, all of which does not use chemicals but tries to do things as nature was set up under God's law and supposed to function. So I got this information to them to not only talk about how we raise our cattle, but also what the price per pound is. And what I do is some farmers go and make quotes based upon hanging weight. And I've already done all this calculations for you before, how that's not necessarily a good idea, because hanging weight doesn't mean the weight you get to eat or get to buy ultimately as a finished product, i.e. you got a 1,000-pound cow hanging weight. When you finally do the processing on that and cut off all the fat and bone it out and get it into the selected cuts that you've chosen off the cut sheet, then you may only have 500 pounds of meat that actually goes into your freezer. But you paid for 1,000 at, let's say, $6 a pound. So you paid $6,000 for the meat you're getting, which is only really 500 pounds and not 1,000. So what I quote is a finished product, cut and wrapped or vacuum packed, delivered to the customer. And ours is $8.75 a pound for the whole weight. In other words, if that 1,000-pound cow, it only then dresses out, or I should say during cut and wrap, comes 500 pounds worth of product, then at that price you're paying about $3,500 versus the $6,000 you paid if you went with a hanging weight. So there's a large difference, and you got to understand the difference. So along with the information on how our cows are raised, we also provided people with an order form so they could order it, and they can either, according to the USDA, you can either do a half or a whole. And so that, of course, I need them to put down on their order form, and then I send them a cut sheet so we can actually customize their cuts So the thickness of steaks, the weight of the roasts, whether they want more hamburger or some stew meat. So we tailor make their order form and their cutting of their cow for their family. And then they pay just the cut and wrap price of the product weight delivered. And I just think that's a better way to go, and you have a more informed consumer. Lastly, this week was real interesting along the lines of how you're setting up a farm. Now, of course, I had to register the farm as a business, which I really recommend everybody does. As a matter of fact, I recommend everybody should have a business, if nothing else, for the tax write-offs that go along with running your own business out of your home or your LLC. So we registered our business with the state of Colorado, and that was the first step. And then we went and got a tax ID number, and that was the second step. But then a lot of people don't understand or know that numerous states have got tax exempt laws that allow you to not pay taxes on farm equipment. Idaho has that, and of course then I looked to see whether Colorado did, and indeed they do. As a matter of fact, Colorado has an affidavit that says what you're buying is for farm use, and it calls it farm equipment. And this goes all the way up to all the farm equipment. So if you're buying a $20,000 tractor and you don't want to pay 6 to 10% taxes on that, then you fill this out, you register it with the retailer that you're buying your supplies and farm equipment from, and they have a document that says that you do not have to pay taxes, because indeed this is intending for farming, and so you don't pay taxes on that. Now then, if you didn't know that, check your state laws, and if you go down and work at Big R or TSC, or go to the John Deere store, file one of these affidavits for them to hold on to, and then you don't pay taxes from that point on within that state on things designated for your farming. It's only wise, and it saves you lots of money. So that's it for today. I appreciate you joining me. I'll keep you updated as we go forward. I've got 5 cows showing up next week, and possibly another 5 beyond that. The farm itself, the grass is growing. It's up over 6 to 8 inches now, which means I can have them come on and eat it down to 4 inches is where I stop before I move them to the next paddock. So I look forward to talking to you again, and if you have any questions, as always, you can contact me at dgholloway6@gmail.com. So have a nice day and enjoy being out on your farm.